Hey everybody, we'll give you a little time to start. It's not typical for me to wear a mask doing these, and I'm going to take it off in a minute so you can hear me. Tell me where you're from. Australia. So I started with a mask because I was walking this morning and I started thinking about mask anxiety disorder. And then I'm like, mad. And I'm like, are you mad? Do you have mask anxiety disorder? Now, let me say right up front, this is not political. That I'm not opposed to masks, and I actually think that masks are a sign of love. Masks honor the fact, when you wear a mask, that we're in the middle of a pandemic that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. So it honors the fact that we're in a pandemic, and when you wear a mask, it separates you a bit, and it makes us think not to spread my germs to you. And that thoughtfulness is important. I can't imagine the people who come up to me and want to shake my hand, and I'm like, come on, let's think about this. So a little physical distancing is good. I hate the term social distancing. Hate the term social distancing. It was a bonehead mistake made by high up-level people in the government. We should be socially more connected than ever before. But we need to physically distance so that, we quiet the spread of this. And so right up front, I want you to know I'm a fan of masks, and but I'm also a psychiatrist, and I'm a child psychiatrist, and I have a daughter who's just starting college. I have two nieces that live with me. One of them just went back to high school, and I'm like, so how was your first day? And she goes, I hate the masks. It's hard to breathe. I can't hear. And it's frustrating. And yesterday was hot. It was like 85 degrees. So, not really hot, but it was very uncomfortable. So we have all these children now that have mask anxiety disorder. And what do you miss when you're wearing a mask? Is you miss social cues. It's hard that you want to see someone's whole face so you have a sense what they're thinking, right? Nonverbal communication is more important than verbal communication. And that's hard for children. Now, if you come from a home where people hate masks, when you go to school, you're going to be anxious and angry. If you come from a home where people honor it and see it as a sign of love, you're going to sort of be better at dealing with it. But I actually wrote down some of the problems that masks can cause. So this is not a black or white issue. This is one we need to really think about and develop strategies for. So as someone who doesn't hear that well, masks make it way harder when, if I'm seeing a new patient or I am having a meeting with someone. And so in some cases, Zoom's actually better for me because I can fully communicate. It's not the same as being in person, but for me, it's better than having two people with a mask on. People can't see someone else's lips moving, and often reading lips is the same, it adds to hearing it. Can't recognize facial expressions. The masks sort of discriminate against people who have hearing issues, and it makes learning harder for children. So a tip, I'm going to give you tips for each of these. Ask people to speak louder, more slowly. And what I've discovered is I need to ask people to repeat things until I understand them. And don't feel bad about it, and don't shake your head yes when you actually have no idea what is going on. Ask teachers to write more on chalkboards or have more handouts for lesson plans. It can cause school problems because it makes people feel disconnected. And masks, so before the pandemic, not in Eastern cultures, but in Western cultures, wearing a mask is often associated with people who want to rob you or assault you or hurt you. And so genetically, we're programmed to look at someone in a mask and to be afraid of them. Now, if you get it in your head that this is really a sign of love, then it overrides the genetic tendency to think this is somehow a dangerous person. It's also, with social problems, harder to start conversations when you feel like you have to shout. So, tip, use hand gestures to get people's attention. Raise your hand, wave high, give them a thumbs up. We have to be creative in how we communicate. Appearance. Wearing a mask all day is causing a brand new problem called maskne, where teenagers are actually having more acne because of the wearing a mask all day can trap bacteria and can also cause redness, bumpiness, and irritation. And if you know anything about teenagers, if you want to make anxiety worse, make their skin worse. So a tip, wear a fresh mask every day, practice good hygiene, and you can do a spot treatment while you're wearing a mask, and then no one will know about it. Vision, if you wear glasses, they get fogged up. So tip, wear a tighter mask, position your glasses differently. You can get anti-fog wipes. And then the last thing I want to talk about is anxiety. Panic research shows that people who have panic attacks may have a greater sensitivity to carbon monoxide. Some brains are wired in a way that makes, so when you wear a mask, you are breathing, right? Breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon dioxide. That when you're breathing out carbon dioxide or CO2, that actually may trigger an anxiety disorder. So and also wearing a mask for some people can make them feel trapped or claustrophobic. You're already in a pandemic, which increases anxiety. They're actually, and I looked, because when I wear a mask for a long time, I don't feel right. I get lightheaded. I looked, there's no scientific studies that say wearing a mask lowers oxygen levels in your blood, even with exercise. I think but it could be the carbon dioxide, the higher levels that are triggering sort of a lightheaded feeling for someone. Now, if you can't wear a mask, you want to protect yourself. All of us, your best defense against COVID-19 is your brain. It's making good decisions to not spread it and not get it. And then your immune system should be strong and healthy. And it broke my heart. I shared on Instagram Live and Facebook the day I got the vaccine, and I just had never experienced that level of hatred. I just hadn't. But what I tell my patients is that my understanding is the vaccine turns COVID into a cold. It won't let it out of your respiratory system. That COVID is not a good thing to have. It's like a dirty bomb. And I have hundreds of COVID scans now, and it's not good news. I have a lot of vaccine scans. I've not seen a problem yet, but I have a lot of COVID scans, and tends to activate your limbic brain, putting people at greater risk for anxiety, for depression, irritability, some people even psychosis and paranoia. So I want us desperately out of this pandemic. And so I'll talk about it just like I talk with my patients. Thank you. Somebody's saying, doesn't the vaccine have fetal tissue in it? No, it doesn't. And remember, with the vaccine prevents COVID, for most people, not everybody, from getting outside of your lungs and turning into a disaster. But it doesn't prevent you from getting COVID, and it doesn't prevent you from spreading it. And we've known that from the beginning. Even if you've been vaccinated, you still need to be thoughtful and careful. I hope this is helpful. I'll talk to all of you soon. Bye.